So for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to take you through a high-level overview of the K2 platform and how we build process apps on the platform itself. Now, a process app is effectively four main things. It's workflows for modeling end-to-end process. It's forms for providing rich user interfaces that users can interact with. It's integration, allowing you to connect to your internal systems to surface data and use it within your applications. And finally, analytics, that allows you to see how your business is running. So let's take a look at how our drag and drop user designers can be used to build process apps in a very simple and intuitive way. So within the workflow designer itself, it allows you to drag and drop different elements onto the canvas. So you can see a model of a process here. As we drag onto the canvas, we can pull in different paths that the workflow might take. So this is for a purchase order. So after it's been approved by a manager, it may have to go through advanced steps where if the cost of the purchase order is above a certain amount, we may want it to go down a certain path within the workflow itself. And you can easily configure this with our drag and drop user interface here. There's no code required. And then you can just simply drag the lines and tell it where to go. So we've got various tasks, email notifications being sent out within here as well. Now, you can visually design simple or complex workflows within here. You can do rework, parallel, approval, sub-processes, lots of business rules. You can kind of drive process with escalations and reminders on your tasks. And you've got real-time Smart Assist as well within here that allows you to flag up where things might go wrong within your workflow. And of course, that version control aspect of your workflows as well. So easily be able to design and configure workflows with a drag and drop user interface designer. So now you've modeled your workflow or process within your organization, you need a way for users to be able to interact with it. And that's where our Smart Forms designer comes in, allowing you to build feature-rich, intuitive user interfaces to allow users to interact with your process apps. So within K2, we have a visual designer for forms within the web browser. It allows you to drag and drop different elements onto a canvas to build user interfaces. Here we've got some data from another system that we're pulling on to allow people to enter, say, information about a purchase order here. And we're entering all the information, dragging it onto the canvas. And then we can go and get other elements like buttons, put them on, and then put corresponding actions with them. This one will be to submit the actual request for a purchase order. And then if we want to, we can change the type of data entry that people put in. So here we're changing it to a rich text editor instead of just a plain old text box. So we can configure these things to allow users to enter information and then be able to show information we want within our apps. So now that we've built that little piece of form that we want to use, we can then put it onto a wider form with a header and footer and restyle it a little bit to make it a little bit more engaging for our users. So within the forms designer, we can drag and drop a header and a footer that we've created earlier. We can then take that portion of form that we created with the user inputs and put it in the middle so it looks nice there. And our forms designer allows you to build these rich user experiences, put business rules with data validation, dynamic displaying logic within them, and also build the form once and then allow it to be used on any device or embedded within other systems you may have. So now you can see the form with all its different parts nicely rendered for the end user, ready to be used as part of a wider process app. The last thing I'd like to show you is a little bit about the analytics. So we capture all the events and the information within the apps you have and display them for you to allow you to make more intelligent decisions about how your business is running, where bottlenecks are, and how you can make improvements to your process. So now that you've seen a few of the building blocks and fundamental aspects of the K2 platform, it's probably a good time to take a step back and go, well, that's great, we can build these things. What does it actually look like for an end user? So I'd like to give you an example of customer onboarding within an organization. And this demonstration will take you through the different aspects of the K2 platform, how we can use something I haven't mentioned, which is our integration layer to connect to other systems to push and pull data. Could be a CRM, could be an ERP system, could be your document management, or in this case, artificial intelligence and robotics to interact with other systems in an end-to-end process. So let's take a look at customer onboarding, an example of how we can onboard a customer using K2 integrated with a variety of different systems, taking into account workflow, smart forms, integration layer, and analytics. So we're going to look at customer onboarding, and here we have our customer onboarding dashboard with all our in-flight customers being onboarded at the moment with a list there and a few SLAs at the top. And As a user, we can come in and click on the new customer button, fill in the basic information about the new customer we want to onboard into our organization. Here, we're talking really about financial institutions. And putting some comments in here, putting the contact details for the person at the organization we are onboarding, and we're going to coordinate with them. And as we come back to our dashboard, once we've kicked it off, we can see the process we're going to go through with all the different paths in order to onboard them. Now, the vendor and the customer who is being onboarded has received a text message with a PIN code and a link by email that allows us to interact with them. So they've been requested to complete some financial information on a form, so we have a better picture and more information to be able to onboard them properly. So they can fill in this form, and once they've finished filling in the form, they can then send that in and it appears within our process. But in the background, a robot has kicked off to do a job that a human being would normally do. So it is logged into Company's House, it is searching for the company information, the directors, the filing history, and taking all that information and pushing it back into the workflow. And this allows us to make better decisions without a human being having to go and do that manual work. So as we come back into our dashboard, because we've collected more information, we now have enough information to start making some decisions collected from lots of different sources. But we maybe still need some more documents from the customer. So we're going to submit this task and request that the customer provides some more documents. Now they can simply receive the email and then attach the documents we've requested to that email. And in the background, we're using a robot to watch for the incoming emails, extract the documents out and send them back into the workflow process as part of the data packet that we have for onboarding this customer. So we can see the documents are there now stored up in SharePoint or OneDrive. And we've also scanned those documents using a robot to extract all the sentences and search for keywords within those documents to flag up things we might not be that happy with and present them so that a user can make a more intelligent decision as to whether we can approve the onboarding or not. But we're going to approve this at the moment. We're going to submit it. And in the background, a robot has kicked off and assembled a document for us, sent it off to Adobe Sign, an Intex Adobe Sign here, for the customer to then sign. So they've signed that document, and now they've signed that document, it's been sent back into the workflow process, archived now within the workflow process, and is now available to everybody as an onboarded customer. For more information about how we can help you with process automation in your organization, visit jaamautomation.com.